Coming up on First at 4, a family in southern Kentucky searches for answers after a violent dog attack. And community leaders in Pikeville come together to discuss recycling and its benefits to eastern Kentucky.
Plus, showers are on their way back to the mountains as we head toward the weekend. The very latest coming up is First at 4. Continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
A southern Kentucky family is pleading for answers after a violent and deadly dog attack. That happened early Wednesday morning in the Parkers Lake community of McCreary County. A 61-year-old woman died, and now police are looking for the owner of the dogs. WYMT's Phil Pimpling spoke to the woman's family about what happened.
The Kentucky medical examiner is performing an autopsy on the body of 61-year-old Wilma Lee Reidner after police say that she was viciously attacked by a pack of dogs around 2 o'clock Wednesday morning. Police and emergency vehicles were called to Slab Vanover Road early Wednesday morning. Relatives woke up to the news that the 61-year-old woman was dead, that a bunch of dogs had attacked her. Crystal Jones says her mother-in-law was simply walking home and may have been helping another woman who had also been bitten by the dogs when she was attacked. The McCreary County Sheriff and Animal Control are working to find the owner or owners of the dogs. He says no one answers the door or is at home, and they're waiting on the autopsy and other evidence. Reidner's family says they believe that she was simply walking down the road when it all happened.
I'd like justice to be served, but I don't know that it will. It'll take time.
There's been some question on exactly how many dogs were involved in the attack. Neighbors tell me that possibly there were 6 dogs, but I've also been told by Animal Control that they discovered 4 dogs, and all of those dogs were euthanized. Family members tell me they are concerned there may be 2 more dogs that are still running loose somewhere that could be dangerous. In McCreary County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Funeral arrangements for Wilma Reidner are being handled through Pine Knot Funeral Home.
Well, the view right now, we continue to watch sunny skies throughout much of the region, but some of those showers trying to scoot into the mountains a little ahead of schedule in parts of the Cumberland Valley. Here's the view from Somerset right now. Downtown looking fantastic. Can't be too long now until that fountain pops on there, because we're looking at temperatures in the low 80s this afternoon. Here's the view from our Pikeville Medical Center camera. Still plenty of sunshine there, as we are rather warm in parts of the region. Grundy was at 87, now down only at 85. 86 at a trio of sites, including Harlan, Hazard, and Manchester. Most of us in the low to middle 80s. And while most of us see plenty of sunshine, we are watching the potential for a few of those showers starting to move into parts of the Cumberland Valley. Most of the shower activity still well to our south, associated with a low pressure cutoff from the flow of the jet stream. So it's going to kind of, take a second to get up toward the mountains. Your forecast first through the next 12 hours. We drop those temperatures back into the 60s overnight. Those upper 50s can't be ruled out in some of those sheltered valley locations. Steve, in a few minutes, I'll have the very latest on when some of those showers move in and how much rain we could see. That's all coming up.
Evan, thank you. Hospital leaders at CHI St. Joseph Health and Lexington Clinic are announcing a new partnership. Lexington Clinic will provide physician staffing for emergency departments and an ambulatory care center in the CHI St. Joseph Health System. The partnership will place Lexington Clinic ER doctors at St. Joseph Hospital and St. Joseph East in Lexington, the hospital in Bardstown, and St. Joseph Jessamine in Nicholasville. The agreement will also allow Lexington Clinic doctors to staff St. Joseph hospitals in Berea, London, and Mount Sterling. CHI Health says St. Joseph London is a 150-bed full-service hospital and was established in 1926. The University of Pikeville joined some partners today to kick off its first ever recycling symposium. The event brings professionals in waste management, sustainability, and environmental effects into the Bear Tower Conference Room, with students and others from the community hearing about the state of recycling in the Commonwealth and how to extend sustainability in the future.
You can't just change one thing. It has to be voices across the community that come together to really do any kind of meaningful change, and this is what that gives us an opportunity to do.
The two-day conference continues tomorrow with partners from recycling groups, environmental organizations, and other entities bringing their specialties to the table. And now that spring has sprung, flowers are blooming across the region, and some of us might be developing a green thumb. Jeffrey Houle brings us some tips on maintaining your lawn or garden.
This week's beautiful weather is bringing with it an abundance of green. Not only is it perfect weather for exercise, but also to start tending to your lawn and garden. And maybe to even pick up some tips from an expert like Kimberly Campbell. She is the owner of Kimberly's Greenhouse in Tazewell. She says right now, broccoli and pansies are still in season due to their resilience to low temperatures.
If you're setting out your cold crops now, if you wanted to use like a general purpose fertilizer, like a 10-10-10, or if you want to go organic, you can mix some compost.
10-10-10 is a balanced fertilizer made up of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. All are key ingredients that plants need to thrive. Sunlight is another important ingredient for their growth.
Most crops like the full sun, at least 5 hours of good sun a day to get the fruit the size you want, the peppers, the tomatoes the size you want.
And then, of course, water. Not only do we need to stay hydrated in our day-to-day lives, but our seedling friends do too.
Water them when they need it, when you're first planting them. Keep them watered until they get established, and then they'll really let you know when they need it.
When the soil looks dry, that's your reminder to water the plant. And here's another tip if you're a fan of potted plants. They usually dry up faster than ones in the ground, so they may need more watering. Now, if maintaining your verdant lawn is your goal, make sure not to cut the grass too short, as it can have an impact on its ability to draw water.
If you cut it too short, that's sort of going to limit the growth of the roots too, because the longer you keep the grass, the longer the roots are going to go down in.
A good length to keep your grass is about 3 inches long. That will help it stay full and healthy. Here for you in Tazewell County, I'm Jeffrey Houle.
And just a reminder to protect your cold crops on cold nights where temperatures hover near freezing. Hopefully we won't have too many more of those. At that point, you will want to bring them in if you can, or protect them outside with a covering. We are approaching this year's tax filing deadline. If you have not yet filed your taxes, you have until Tuesday to do that. Every year, millions of those taxpayers are found to underreport their income or taxes owed, and in some cases fail to file taxes at all. The most recent data from the IRS indicates Americans owed more than $114 billion in back taxes, penalties, and interest in 2020. That's despite the threat of stiff penalties, seizure of assets, and even jail time.
If you don't file your return, first of all, any unpaid taxes you're going to pay interest on. There's two separate types of penalties for failure to file. So it's a failure to file penalty, which goes up to 25% of the unpaid tax, as well as a late payment of the tax.
The IRS encourages electronic filing. They say it's usually more convenient and costs them less to process than filing through the mail. From coffee to natural healing, former owners of Tin Roof Coffee have recently opened a center for hypnotherapy and metaphysical healing in Glasgow, out in western Kentucky. Sarah and Joshua Bradford say they are filling the space with animals and hope to offer natural healing services in unique ways. Sarah is one of 3 certified hypnotherapist practitioners at the center. They offer hypnotherapy and regression therapy, sound baths, and natural health healing.
I never claimed that I can heal you because, you know, I'm not a magician, I'm not God or anything like that. If you sit with the intention for an hour with me and with these bowls, I have seen it so many times with people that their anxiety is gone. I don't claim you come to me and your anxiety will leave, but it happens.
Anyone who wants to simply enjoy the space and animals or garden can come out free of charge. You can follow them on Facebook for more information. From protests to marches, we've seen so many voice their concerns about gun safety. Some of the youngest Tennesseans are making their opinions heard. As Araceli Crescencio tells us, they took their message right to Governor Bill Lee's front door.
This is not your typical after-school activity for elementary school students.
Dear Gov Darling, I want to feel safe going to school and not to... I'm not done writing that sentence.
But then again, it's not your typical concern for a 7-year-old either.
I just want to have fun. I don't want to have to worry about my safety.
Hayden Harris and her mother were among the dozens of families at Glendale Elementary on Wednesday that wrote handwritten letters to Governor Bill Lee asking for stricter gun laws.
Something's got to change for my child, for me to feel safe sending her to school. I'm a substitute teacher here at Glendale as well, and it's important.
With back-to-back tragedies for some, processing the impact of all that's happened is just beginning.
I'm from Louisville too, and I used to work right there where it happened. So it's gotten to the point, it just hits too close to home these days.
After the Covenant School mass shooting, parents say they wanted to give their children an opportunity to raise their voice too. And after all the writing was done, the walking to the governor's mansion began. Although Governor Lee wasn't home to accept the letters, staff said they would be delivered to him. An outcome that children know has the potential to make a big difference.
A little goes a long way when you're trying to protest about this stuff.
In Nashville, Araceli Crescencio, News Channel 5.
It's been 10 years since the Boston Marathon bombing. Today, Boston's mayor announced public safety preparations for this year's event. Law enforcement officials say they plan uniformed and plainclothed officers along the marathon route and other safety measures. The city will join the community on Bolston Street Saturday to remember the victims, survivors, and first responders of 2013.
I want to thank everyone who has been involved in ensuring that we could plan and mark this occasion with the solemnity and respect in close coordination with the survivor community, the many, many families who have been impacted.
The marathon is Monday. Planners started painting the starting line earlier this week. Officials say this year's race will include about 30,000 athletes from all 50 states and more than 120 countries. Coming up on First at 4, new numbers from the government are showing we are all paying just a bit less for basic essentials.
And we're already tracking showers into parts of the region as we head through tonight. There's more where this came from. Those details coming up.